Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's my sound? I see green dots. That's always a good sign on StreamYard. Um, I've been doing these 5-song playlists this week, and I'm thinking maybe Sundays will be the day that I talk about the week's playlists, and um, we'll delve into why we're going in this direction, if you like. But checking the camera position, should be more like that. Center. I recline. All right. Um, Marquez posted a playlist for me in response, and then made it unavailable. So I shared it on um, my community feed to trying to get people to talk about the songs they love and why they love them. It's kind of the gist of it. I'm talking about songs I love. The post that all the 5-song playlists. Let me see. I will share a screen. Well, while we're waiting for people, let's Ezra did I think it's an original song by Ezra on Grim Grizz's live stream. The sound was so impeccable. I was really suspicious. It's like going, dude. I mean, it's he had the vocal and the guitar so locked in, dialed in perfectly. I'll share it. And let's see, click on it. I'll play on it, and then I will get everything else set up, and I will post the link, and we will go from there. But this is Ezra's song on Grim Grizz.
He's going to be making song now. You want to say any introductory words about song?
Yeah. So when you first asked me to made me play a song,
get up on that mic.
It was the "Make You Happy" song, which was kind of from my first round of AI Doom, and then on a recent stream, I was reminded of this song, which is part 2 of an AI Doom trilogy, as yet unresolved.
Part 2. Here we go. Here's the new song.
Fear in, fear out. Isn't it beautiful? Molix got you now. Your mind is immutable. Surgical, scientific, paranoid, paralytic, a training wheel, ticking clock, Zuckerberg, heterodon. Your mind is immutable. Virtuous, innocent, purer and purer. Anathema, enmity, fetishistic furor. Aryan, altruistic, ineffectual, atavistic, assenting in credulity, mass hysteria, herd impunity. Don't. Your mind is immutable. The odium of the mimetic class, the psyoptic nerve of throbbing theocrats, just a twinkle now in their gleaming eyes, the
basing basic imps into genocide. Don't. Isn't it beautiful? Mullick's got you now, hypnotized, hypnagogic. Started up, but can you ever stop it? Abominable to the profligate, screeching caterwaul. Then the crickets gone. Your mind is immutable. Your mind is immutable. Your mind is immutable.
We all know that there is no agency any.
All right. That was very good, Ezra. So I hope it's I hope it's all original. It's good. I bet on it. I'm going to bet it's a real deal. But that was again for a live stream, amazing sound quality, amazing. So let's see here. Let me change screens. What I'm going to share. Stop sharing this one. Let's share the other one. What's with the if you paid attention to my channel at all, which most people don't, but although they always see the political stuff that upsets them, so somebody reads this crap, which is funny. It's the positive stuff really gets any attention, but what I've been doing. Start back. When did I start? Yes, I started with 5 songs for August 13, 2026. That would be this. Does it just highlight? Read more and what it is. Okay, we'll go to the playlist, and then there's 5 songs. And this was the very first one was just stuff that I've been. It's on my. I listen to music every day, like most people, I guess. I don't know, but I have a playlist and. I add and subtract, and then I usually take a deep dive on certain things. And these were each songs that I was on a current deep dive on. Probably I don't know how much I can. I don't think I can probably play any of them without having to chop up the live stream, but I don't monetize. So, but this one by ELO is Queen of Hours. It's from ELO's very first album. And it was when Roy Wood was recorded while Roy Wood was still in the band. It was kind of his vision initially. And oh goodness, suddenly names are escaping me. But anyway, the see, this is why I should have notes. But I remember Roy Wood, but I don't remember the guy who's most famous for ELO, Jeff Lynne. Jeff Lynne was part of Roy Wood's band, had joined, I think it was called The Move at the time. And then The Move, basically The Move did this album called The Electric Light Orchestra, which then became the band, The Electric Light Orchestra, or something like that. And there's a whole story about how they ended up with Roy Wood leaving. It was apparently Jeff Lynne and Roy Wood had the same manager, and the guy kind of manipulated them into parting ways because he made money off of them working independently. He made more money working independently than having them work together on the same project or the same band. Kind of a weird, wild idea. Roy Wood, if you've not heard of him, he's kind of a oh, less famous key figure of the 1960s and 70s. Particularly, he made a lot of hits that were big in the UK. Um, but go listen to the playlist. In fact, what I should do, this is maybe what I'll do is as I talk about the playlists, I'll post them, and then I'm going to post the playlists in the show description. If anyone wants to come on in and talk about music they love, feel free. But see, you can check out this playlist. This is the first playlist of this week's group, and it's in the chat. Oh, see, Roy Wood was good in Wizard. Anselman knows about Roy Wood. Excellent. Excellent. Very few Americans know about Roy Wood. And he multi-instrumentalist, a real creative genius. This first album really is a must listen to. Must listen. At least hear it once. It is an amazing album. And it kind of took Sgt. Pepper's to a new level. The stuff that the Beatles were doing with Sgt. Pepper's 4 or 5 years earlier, if even that long, 4 years earlier, that this first album just takes it to the nth degree with strings and horns. And there's a good video of them performing. What the heck? We'll see if we can. This is all an experiment. See if I can find a way to play just a clip of it without getting into too much trouble. And then you guys can get a taste. But while I do that, let's talk about the other songs on the list. Silent Sunlight by Cat Stevens. Now Yusuf, but Cat Stevens. When I shared this list with Mark S. That's how I only found out about the Ezra song because of Mark S. And he played along long enough for me to hear the song. But then I listened to his playlist a couple times through. It was great. And I wish he'd kept it up so I could share it with you. Why do we do these things? I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. It's just a music playlist. Why would you take it down? It's wonderful. I don't think I say anything offensive about it. Then Revelate by The Frames. Glenn Hansard died recently. Glenn Hansard is his first band was called The Frames. That would be, let's click on it real quickly. This song called Revelate is really, really good. It does, as I was creating these playlists, I shared it. Risto responded and said it kind of sounded grunge, and it has that 90, and it was 95 when it came out. And but there's also an Irishness about it, a bit of Irish punk. And if you don't know who Glenn Hansard is, he died recently in a motorcycle accident. I think he was age 56. Tragic life, brought short. Great life. I mean, he super creative. It turns out that Martin Shaw, he wrote a little memory reflection on Glenn Hansard's life, and Martin Shaw actually knew and worked with Glenn Hansard. But this is kind of his first big hit, to a degree, big in his world, Ireland and the UK. But he would go on to an acting career, and he wrote another song, very famous song that you would have probably everyone's heard. I think it won an Oscar or at least nominated. This one, the next one on the list, is Tori Amos's, I think, from her third album, Boys for Pele, Blood Roses. Super amazing. And again, very interesting. The whole collection is a kind of, it's pop. The first playlist is kind of a little pop, but it's better, maybe pop adjacent. With there's a twist on all of these songs, and I like that. For the lyrics tend to be big and personal at the same time, which is something music can do. Yes, Jeb Flynn was in the Traveling Wilburys. I think he was their producer too. Did at least the behind the engineering. George Harrison, Bob Dylan, Roy Orbison, and Tom Petty. I remember the band well. Lived through the times. Then the last song is by Steve Earle. If you watched The Wire, if you are a fan of The Wire, you would have heard this song on the closeout of the whole series. The last, I don't know what you call it, is the musical outro for the last episode of the last season of The Wire. And are there versions of this that I can get away with playing clips of? So much depends on and what I should have done. I didn't think about it, but find versions of the songs played live or covers of them. And that's going forward. Maybe that's something I'll do. Steve Earle is one of those guys who how you doing? Haven't been around much, just saying hi instead of creeping. Thanks for giving some new songs for me to listen to. Yes. Well, feel free to hop on too if you like, or listen. They're good songs. All you have to do is go to the community page and you'll see all the lists of songs. The lists now, we've got multiple lists. And basically what I'm trying to do is a five song playlist every day. And then what I'm going to then do is, and I think that I'm moving towards a theme. This was less of a theme. This was kind of this very first effort on the 13th. These 5 songs were just hot they were hot on rotation. They were heavy rotation songs on my current listening right now. I love all 5 of them. So let's go to the next playlist. The next playlist was on the 14th. These were Sacred Harp songs. Some of these I can probably get away with playing a little bit of. Idomea. This is the part. All Sacred Harps start with. It's a 4-part, 5-part harmony. I think it's 4-part. Shape note music. You basically pick one of the notes and you follow that note through the song, as I understand it. And so people, it's a cappella. We've talked about it before. It's very old music. It kind of originates in Scotland, but really takes hold in it starts in New England. I'm sorry, it starts in New England, colonial New England, moves to, but the Scotch-Irish dominant in New England, Northern English. So anyways, they shape note it was a way of they create these hymns. It starts in New England, but it kind of gives way to more formal hymnal type of music with the musical notation that we understand now. And so this ends up ultimately in the South and the frontier, the west of the Appalachians. The Shakers they love this music. You'll find it. It's all, and it stays in this sizes kind of stays in the rural South. Basically, it's music made for poor people who can't afford a church organ or piano. And it's old. It's a little haunting. It's one of the things I said not too long ago. I said I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love it, but there's a darkness to it that and that's part of the story too. It also takes it's big with the second Great Awakening as well. But anyways, this is Idumea. I should be better on the history of shape note music or sacred harp, but more fluent anyway on describing it. But the and then I've talked about Babylon is Falling. This was written by Richard McNamara, who was an associate of Barton Stone, close associate of Barton Stone. He was a Presbyterian minister who was part of the kind of early rebellion against formal Presbyterian and Congregationalist Calvinist theology and denominations, and he was at the Cane Ridge Revival and helped organize it. But McNamara would ultimately they would create a new light Presbyterian denomination, the Springfield Presbytery. A year later, they dissolve it because they wanted to go into this new direction that would be non-denominational and without creeds. And but they ultimately broke off between each other as well. McNamara went with the Shakers, and he's a brilliant man. Barton Stone would join with Thomas and Alexander Campbell to form the Churches of Christ, Disciples of Christ, Christian Church, so-called Stone Campbell Restorationist movement. I've talked about that a lot. And but this is a song by him. I'll play a little bit with the lyrics. I think you get the gist of it. It's apocalyptic, but it's also celebratory. Babylon is fallen, so it's a bit of dancing on the graves of your slain enemies there. But it's also haunting, and that's almost all Sacred Heart music has that. I don't know what brings it. I don't know if in Ron Copperman's world it would be called this the realm of demons and or whatever, or in John Vervaeke's world. I don't know how we would describe it. But there's something about this music. Maybe it's just the a cappella nature of it. I don't know enough about music theory to understand what gives it its vibe. A lot of English folk, I've noticed a lot of English folk music. In fact, we're going to get to English folk music, Anselman, very soon, because I did a 5-song playlist of English folk revival music, and it's the stuff that's rooted in a couple famous collections of folk tales from England, Scotland, Ireland, and they dark, man. They are dark. They are really dark. Yet there's something, they're sublime as well, right? It's not dark in the movie horror genre sense, but it's a music of contrast, these and stories of contrast of light and dark. But this is a lot of play, like Antioch, another one, beautiful, beautiful. This is where they always start up and everybody practices their part. They practice their part and they get into the music. Go listen to this playlist. Go listen to this playlist, please. It's such a good one. I will post it right now. I will desperately try to remember to update the show description for today's live stream and put it in the show notes, as I say, or the YouTube description. But that's that one. That was for 5 songs. Northport. I didn't play a clip of Northport or Restoration, but oh my goodness, they're all 5 songs. Highly recommend. I've listened to them 1,000 times. I don't know, not 1,000 times, but I listened to them a lot. I've listened to all these songs. I love them in a way, but I've got to be in a certain mindset to enjoy them, because if I'm not, they can be, just like I said, there's the dark touch that makes them a little challenging. What's next? The next one of the group was August 15th, 5 songs. This is the folk revival. Oh God, I didn't go to the list. Hold on, let's do the list. List. Here we go. Foggy Dew. Pentangle playing performing Willie O. Winsbury. That's from a collection of folk tales. John Barleycorn from Traffic, I guess. Yeah, I'll get to it. Fairport Convention, Tam Lin, another folk story, put the music. And then this Dari Farrell, that's the name of the guy who is performing up here, Foggy Dew. And then Irish Flight, Delayed. Give you a vibe. This was a fun one. These are all favorites of mine as well. And because I have YouTube Music, which allows me to put music that's on YouTube into my musical playlists. So instead of if I had Spotify, I couldn't do this, to my knowledge. But let's see if I can play it. Steve Earle's done a version of this song as well. I think Dari Farrell he may be my favorite Irish. I've got a lot of favorite Irish musicians, but for this kind of music, he's just made for it. He's made for it. It's kind of a pub song, I guess. Working backward. Playing any of these is going to get me in trouble. Vivo, of course. I can't imagine playing but it is. I still have eyeballs, so YouTube hasn't shut me down yet. I did this. Once I played a whole bunch of music in the series, and all suddenly the live stream just went dead because I think YouTube shut it down or something, blocked it while I was playing. It was a weird thing. It was quite a while ago. But Foggy Dew, Willie O. Winsbury, all these are good songs. The guy who was behind Traffic, he's very famous, Steve Winwood. Steve Winwood. And that's the voice you'll hear playing, singing John Barleycorn. Fairport Convention. Let me mention Fairport Convention in case Mark Jackson shows up. I was familiar with some of the music, but it was never something I got a lot of attention to. But he pointed me at, he was telling me what we were talking about, music and things he was listening to. And one of his favorite bands is Fairport Convention. And it really, so I'm kind of a latecomer to Fairport Convention, even though this is really 60s music, 60s, 70s. I mean, they were playing live until very recently as a band, but Sandy Denny died quite a long time ago. But it's had a big rotation of big names. If you go to the Wikipedia page, it's the list of band members is a mile long. You know, the former members and the present members and all that sort of thing. And you'll see it's a lot of big names have shown up and come through Fairport Convention over the years. I'm going to take a chance and I'm going to play this little bit from Pentangle. This was from a television broadcast in 1972, very much at the time.
The king has been a prisoner and a prisoner long in Spain.
All right. It's a story. It's beautiful storytelling and beautiful singing. Amazing. 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 You'll hear the Fairport Convention do a similar sort of long story, and it's through music, but it's very different style, a little more rock and roll inflected. You know, did I share this link to this playlist? I'll share it again. And this one says Fairport. Benny doing "You Never Wanted Me" is a good version of Jackson Frank's song. Sandy Denny was amazing. I'll play it just to breathe. I'm in trouble. I played enough already. I'm either in trouble or not. So it's just some of these songs. What you're going to find is that things get clipped out, and after the fact, they'll notify me if they've put restrictions on viewership of the songs, and then I will have to use the Google AI to auto clip them out or take down the whole thing. We'll see. But
I forbid you maiden song to go to your head. Travel to Carterhall for young Tamlin is there.
that's Sandy Denny's beautiful voice live. A little bit of Foggy Dew.
In squadrons passed me by, no fifed hand, no battle drum did sound its.
Again, these voices. What is it? The Irish, Scott. I mean, it's a land of singers. Steel Eye Span almost made it into the list. but only had 5 songs. I try to keep the playlist pretty short. But yes, there's more to there are gonna be more, folk revival, playlists to come. We've got and this is what I wanna encourage you to do. Share them with me. Post them. I think I've got the settings so that you can post to my community page. Very le I will I'll check. I gotta be careful because I don't want people posting, weird spammy things, but I will experiment with this and post your playlist to um, your own channel and point me to it, and I'll share it and we can go through it. Because I'd like to talk about music you love as well. And that's kind of the point of this experiment. Okay, that was okay. Then, as I mentioned, Mark S. created a playlist that he's now since taken down, which is a shame. He had some couple really ones I had never heard before, bluegrass stuff that was really good. Then Risto played along. Risto's playlist is very Risto in some ways. He's got a couple that's only with like one with less than 1,000 views, 781 views, another one with 279. I'm guessing I'm pretty safe sharing these. We'll see.
What a time it was befriended and was a friend for the longest while. You were here and I never knew you from the sound. Snow is on the ground. This is not my landscape now where I.
That's a good song, folks. That's a good song. I don't know where it came from. I'll find out if it's copyright protected, but it only has uh, a handful. I mean, as I said, less than 1,000 views on this song. Don't know where the 1,000 views on the assume on the video. The song sounds like it's recorded. I'm sure it's a much bigger deal. But I'll try to research and figure out who it is. Let's see. Come on, stop. I want to see the description on the video. What does it say? Master, okay. From the Innocence Mission album, Befriended. So the band is Innocence Mission. The album is titled Befriended. Let's see. Somebody says it's 2003. Still not very, I'm not getting, I'm gonna have to keep looking, digging. If anybody wants to check it out or do some research for me while I'm here, we can share. But So yeah, I don't know who these, again, not a lot of subscribers on whoever posted. It looks like the whole album. There's that voice again. Huh. We'll share. Hear the whole album if you want to. Do you have a local live music venue? I used to sing at my local folk club. We don't, to my knowledge, I don't know what we have like that. I know there are people who go out, but I really don't know. That would be fun to find out. I mean, in Southern California, because you can pretty much find everything. But within 10, 20 minutes of where I live, I don't know what's available. Not a lot, I would suspect, but I could be wrong. Could be wrong. So let's switch back. To the list, because that was, by the way, Risto called his list Liturgy of Death and Hope. This was another one, 275 views.
We refuse to suffer, when we refuse to feel, the pain ain't gone nowhere, we just haven't faced it. When we refuse.
Didn't I say it was very Risto? Here's the link to that song if you want to listen to it, or I recommend more going to his playlist and listen to it there. Other songs he chose, 777 Bach, Gottesheit, Georgi ein Marta Kurtag, or N, not ein, N. And my German pronunciation is not very good. But anyway, a little Bach, that's got more views. That was the first thing that's got over 1,000 views. Then Bill Withers, Lovely Day. Of course, that's a song with millions of views. And then a song by Phil Keaggy. I'll probably get dinged for this one. But it's just, let's see, he's got Phil Keaggy has 3.89 thousand subscribers, but he does have a label behind him, and he's been around for a long time in Christian music, contemporary Christian music. And but it's a good song. It's actually a really, really good song. Phil Keaggy is kind of famous for being a really great guitarist. Hey, Guy. Evening MDP, Barclay James Harvest. The time-honored Ghosts was a quasi-Christian group that led me in many moons ago. Like it. I have to check it out. Mark S., the man who takes down his playlist, so I couldn't talk about it.
Yeah, I shouldn't have taken it down, I guess. I delete most of the stuff I put up, so.
I should have screen grabbed it, so then I could at least search the songs, because they were good songs.
Well, it actually wasn't a correct list because I was like, well, what do I do? I'll just do the top 5 songs that I've been like listening to a lot lately.
Uh-huh.
But for some reason, I forgot one of the top songs I've been listening to, which is "People Who Died" by Jim Carroll Band.
Hmm.
You know that song?
No. I mean, maybe if I listen to it, but it doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah, it's anyway. I forgot that on there, and then the first song I had, it was that Ezra song, but it was like deep into a Grizz stream. So
Yeah, but the
I
link
figured it would
worked.
be like,
You managed somehow to timestamp the link, so it took you right to the
really?
spot. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I just actually asked Google if you can do that, and it said no.
Oh, that's funny
That's-
because no, you can very much, and you did it. In fact, there's just a little button you tap on your phone that will, and you might have done it by accident or something, or have it on by default. But when you shared the link, it went right to that spot. And I played it. You probably weren't here for the beginning, but I played the Ezra song right at the opening of the live stream. I should play it again since a lot of people weren't here for it. But it's a good song. Are you there? Did I lose you?
Yes. I think he kind of subconsciously ripped off Coldplay a little bit on the melody,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
but that's okay. I mean, I do not say that disparage. I like it better than Coldplay. But
In that
everybody rips
sense,
it
my
up.
ear is not that well trained. I mean, there's sometimes you hear something, you go, "Oh wow, that's just a complete ripoff." But I felt like there was enough different.
No, I don't. I shouldn't have said ripped off. Ezra is my friend. I don't want to offend him.
No. I didn't take it as being no. We all. I mean, everybody is standing on the shoulders of giants, right? Right. I mean, no. And I told you privately too. I felt like song. Because the sound was so dialed in. I was really shocked that they got such good quality balance between vocal and guitar. That I thought, was this AI or something? Or was it produced after the fact? You know, I mean, it was like it sounded because you never know with Grimm. He's kind of a trickster. So I'm like going,
Right.
did they make this? Are they pretending it's live, but it was really recorded and kind of, produced after the fact to balance because it's so good. And the lyrics are a bit AI. If you punch in a bunch of words like that, just a kind of word salad, and give the intent to Suno, it would generate a kind of lyric like that. But I don't get the feeling that that's what's happened. I felt like, no, it was all Ezra, and I got the feeling it was his guitar, and it was just I don't know if they got lucky or they just got their sound. You mentioned he's got a lot of equipment, so maybe he really knows what he's doing because obviously it worked. It really was impressive.
Yeah, they probably did a sound check or something like that and tested it to make sure. Because I mean, I didn't see him with the guitar. I thought it was live, but
Well, he picked one up at the very beginning.
Okay.
When they start to, here we go. I'll show you real quick. Let me share the screen. It says I accidentally removed you. I was trying to share the screen. Okay. Ezra's Odyssey. And if you'll see him pick up a guitar, I think.
As he presents it to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Ezra. He's going to be making song now. You want to say any introductory words about song?
Yeah. So
See there, just see the hand of the
just asked
guitar.
me to play
sure.
play a song.
Get up on that mic.
I'll play it a little bit more so people
It
get an
was,
idea what we're talking about,
the,
how
Make
good it
You
is.
Happy song, which was kind of from my first round of AI Doom, and then on a recent.
So what AI do is he's saying it's the this is what had me a bit confused and wondering if maybe he used AI to make the song, because he said it's my first round of AI Doom. So is it like a song he used AI to write, or is it his song about AI Doom and he's reflecting on it?
Yeah.
And I kind of went with the latter ultimately.
Yeah, I think so. That's what I figured.
Okay, so we're on the same page.
Stream, I was reminded of this song, which is part 2 of an AI Doom trilogy, as yet unresolved.
Part 2. Part 2. Here we go. Here's the new song.
Fear in, fear out. Isn't it beautiful? Molix got you now.
I think the more I listen to it, the more convinced I am. It's just a really well done live performance. And then we get the privilege of looking at Grizz's X feed, which is a bit of it works. That's the funny thing. It works, right?
It's a good music video.
It is. It was it worked as a. It was probably random, but worked really well. And it goes through what the crap the man feeds into his brain through X is just like a little.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I was off. I was off for a couple months. I deleted my account completely, and then I
Really?
was like, oh, I want to talk. I want to talk to this one guy. So I got another account, and I follow like 9 people, I think. And just that is just. It's like being off for a couple months and going back on there. It's like this is so much. Just every single paragraph is people just severely trying to trigger you. You know,
Mhm.
that's the only way to get engagement is just try to trigger people. So
Yeah.
yeah, like and then watching somebody else's feed, that's kind of interesting because they don't follow the same people I would follow.
Right, that is true. You're kind of once removed when you're watching his thing. You can kind of you get it's a different perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, I almost wonder, because we used to go around having. I don't know if you probably not watched the Vervaeke speech from Midwestuary. That was the only, excuse me, that was the only Vervaeke speech I ever listened to, but I thought it was really good. And he's talking about just the imagination, and I've kind of thought about how much social media or YouTube like now occupies that place of our imagination. And so when I used to go on X a lot, it was like it was my own world. It was like my real world, you know.
Mm.
And then when you go on somebody else's feed, it's like their real world. It's kind of Verbicki's thing is kind of how your imagination is sort of like your real world. And so,
Well, you are letting people into your imagination, and
right.
I guess you could say that's what art and music do too, but in a more constructive way, hopefully. I mean, there's poisonous versions of all of it. Now, I just wanted to pull up X real quick because talking about it was. I'm not set up on my desktop for this. I don't want to subscribe. I don't want to have anything to do with any of this. I just want to look at my free account somehow. Oh, okay, X out of that. Good. All right. Now, Luke Thompson started a kerfuffle, and see if I can find Luke Thompson.
Luke started a kerfuffle.
Luke started a kerfuffle on X. I think it's Whitestone
Yeah.
name.
You know what I heard about Luke?
What?
He's a universalist. I'm not sure. I've never actually heard him say that, but I heard that.
You think? Oh, Whitestone name. What happened to Whitestone name? I can't. Was Luke driven from X? Let's see. Who am I following? Let's find my personal account. Log out. Add personal. Oh, he wants me to pay for verification. I'm following.
But you have different Twitter accounts or something?
It's possible I'm on an old one. It looks like I'm on an old one. Let's see here.
I mean, don't you always have to start a Twitter account after a while once everybody blocks you? That's the way it was with me. Like people kept blocking me, so I'd have to start another.
Yeah, I didn't log on. The Mark D. Parker. Let's try that. Log out.
I'm kind of learning with this stuff. Like for me, I've just got to have my one social media, and that's it. I can't have multiples. 'Cause, like,
yeah,
I can't deal with that completely. I've got to know what's going on online, but I just have to have my one thing. So it's YouTube and a little bit of Substack, but that's it for me.
Yeah, I've tried to do the cross promotion bit, and I don't have enough free time to manage anyway, and so I've pretty much given up. And I hadn't been on X in a long time, and then I clicked on it and I saw this kerfuffle with Luke, and I thought, I almost was tempted to just chime in a bit, but it was so. I thought better of it. Why I don't have time for it, and I thought, who needs this?
What was it? What happened? I want to know what's.
I know, that's why I'm trying to pull it up for you. Let's see.
Because if I try to look it up, I'll just get sidetracked by some video of a fight in Alabama or something, or like, oh, what's somebody cheated on their wife, and now I have to find out who's to blame.
I think, unfortunately, I think it's already fallen into the abyss, and I'm not going to be able to find it again. Let's see, Luke. There it is. All right, Luke. So what's his The Person Pod? That's why it's not White Stone name. It's The Person Pod. That was one of Luke's attempts at branding that never went anywhere. We all have many, I think.
I used to be mutuals with Luke when I had Twitter. He's a pretty good tweeter, kind of. You can tell it's not his main thing. His main thing is YouTube, probably, or some secret social media that everybody's doing now, TLC, which I don't know.
Yeah, he I'm gonna log in. Let's just continue. Anyway, what he did was he posted this. He said, "I think that whether or not one believes in conspiracy theories, I'm sorry, let's start this over. I think that whether or not one believes in conspiracy theories has more to do with how they desire to be perceived than with an earnest pursuit of the truth." With that tweet, he launched 1,000 ships. Griswold Grimm responded, "You would, period." "What do you think it's based on?" Luke said. "Facts, truth, holiness, shake my head, SMH. And there are exceptions." To which there then Grizz responded, "The penalty for being a conspiracy theorist is that," I probably should talk in his voice, "a theorist that has the normies." Okay, the penalty, this is what Grizz says. "The penalty for being a conspiracy theorist is that the normies have been programmed to think you're crazy. It's not something you do if you care what people think about." So he's very defensive of conspiracy theorists. Luke says that's one aspect. To which someone else, then other people got involved. And he responded. It's just like, ugh. Go ahead.
What is his tweet that
got everybody
if you're a
upset?
conspiracy theorist, if you're a conspiracy theorist, it's because you want to be perceived a certain way?
Yeah, I guess that's a way of putting it. I think that whether or not one believes in conspiracy theories has more to do with how they desire to be perceived, how they, the conspiracist, desires to be perceived, than with an earnest pursuit of the truth. But he was in the mood for a fight.
I don't really have much fight for that one.
But why would you do that on Twitter? You say that on Twitter.
You know what I would guess? I would guess that some conspiracy theorist pissed him off, and so he,
that's right.
You know, so now that's what I would guess. But maybe he really thinks that about people. I don't know.
I don't know either. Anyway,
I have no comment on that tweet. I have no subtweet.
So anyway, you took down your, okay, where I was at the end of this, I'm going to go back to the theme of the live stream. I was sharing, I was at the end, I just stopped talking mostly about, yes, I was talking about Phil Keaggy. That was the last song on Risto's list. Risto's list he titled Liturgy of Death and Hope. And so it's a good group of songs, and it is very Risto. You like this song, the very first one on the top of his list. I think you'll like it, Mark.
Befriended and was a friend.
Isn't that pretty? Did I lose you, Mark?
Oh, I was muted. Yeah, that's nice. Kind of sad for a Sunday after church, but.
Well, and that's what's going to take us to the next list. The next list, okay? Because I did a Sunday. I'm doing these every day. The plan is, I'm thinking the plan is I'm going to do playlists every day of the week, and then I'm going to reflect on my choices every Sunday, and play with this for a while until I can get more people on board.
That's the thing. I don't know if I could do it every day because I kind of don't want to tell people the stuff I'm listening to.
Well, there are times like that too, but these are just 5. These are just selections of 5 songs, and today's focus was a kind of Christian worship, churchy type music, I guess you'd say. The first one is Thais. That's a Catholic group. Then there are 3 Wesleyan hymns, and then I close out with an Appalachian chant of "For God is with us." I'll play. At this point, I'm either in trouble with the YouTube gods, or so this live stream may not survive.
So they'll just delete the whole live stream if you break the rule?
I don't know. What they usually do is they tell me there are copyright concerns, and then they'll tell me what I can and can't keep up. Right? It'll say, okay, there are people have copyrights, right, for material on your live stream, and then they will switch perspective here. Anyway, it will they will what they'll do is they will tell me whether or not it affects the channel. If it affects the channel, then usually they give me the option of letting the machine, the Google machine, kind of auto edit the clips, the offending clips out of the live stream, so the live stream will stay up. But I don't know if at this point have I played 10 songs yet, pieces of 10 songs. So like the big ones at the very first list that I showed you, right, was the list of a lot of big named artists. I didn't play any of their clips because I just know that's asking for trouble. The other stuff, like the stuff from Risto's channel that I played, were from artists or channels that had less than 1,000 views or something. And some of the, and then I played Sacred Heart music, and sometimes I can get away with playing clips of that without getting in too much problem.
So you're saying that a lot of the time they will contact the original channel?
I don't know if they even do that much. It's like it's like the content has been copy ID'd in some way, right? Copywritten, or it's somehow the person who said it's copyright protected. Maybe what they do is they post the video and say this is copyright protected, and then they may have chosen the option of letting YouTubers play it or not play it. And if they want it taken down, then I'll get that. I assume I'll get that notice, and it'll be I've never gotten a true copyright strike. And the way I'm using the material today is all fair use. So I think I could even defend this live stream, so I could fight it. But then how much work do I want to go to? I know it's something, I mean, this is literally something Rick Beato has hired a lawyer for. He has a lawyer on retainer just to fight copyright strikes for him every week all year.
So is there something that says fair use? Because I know you can search under Creative Commons and use stuff, but what's the difference between that and fair use?
Creative Commons, yeah, I know. I don't know. I know Creative Commons typically is you can use it and reuse it, but you can't. There's sometimes attribution requirements, and sometimes not. And then there's also for-profit or not-for-profit, right? So I don't know. It's to me, it's all a mystery.
Do you have songs that you have just listened to over and over for many years that you just keep going back to?
Sure.
There's this song by the Rolling Stones called Doom and Gloom. It's called Doom and Gloom. And it's actually kind of later. I think it's from like 2010. But I don't know what it is. I just listen. There's times where I've like listened to it every single day for months. And,
well, that was kind of that first playlist that I did last week. Let's see, share it. The first playlist was this group, or that tended to be what that was songs that are just in heavy rotation right now, but they've been in the catalog, so to speak, for a long time. So, I mean, I have songs that are in the, I have a couple of enormous playlists on that I just have stored on my phone with, I don't know. They just keep adding. I just add songs and I never really take them out. So it's like I have a couple playlists over 1,000 songs in them, right? And plus albums that I download and so on. But all of these were in it for the most part, but these are ones that I'm currently just on heavy rotation. So I'll listen to it and then I'll listen to it some more. And like Queen of the Hour, what the hell? It's just going to tell me I'll have to take it out because I'm not a monetizing channel. So let's just see what it does. Like this is a trippy song. These are all, there's like three or four. If you see them, there's a video of them performing it live, and they're on cello. Roy Wood is on these big cellos, and there's like 2 other artists with them in the band. ELO at this point is a big group of people. There's very little machinery behind it all. It's people on instruments, and so they're banging away on their cellos to get this sound. Um,
Queen of the hours, waiting for the wind to blow away the veil of time.
so I'm listening to this. It's just this. I've been aware of this album for a long time. It's ELO's first album, and they were actually, I can't remember the history of this album. Was that they were the Move, and they named the album Electric Light Orchestra, or they renamed the Move the Electric Light Orchestra. It's a very confusing history, but it was Roy Wood and Jeff Lynne behind this, and it's a really good Whisper in the Night. Recommend. There's a live performance of it to check that out. That's on this. Both Whisper of the Night is on this album, but there's live performances of it, and it's this. To hear them play it live is really impressive because they, how good they were.
Well,
They took complicated music and actually made it sound good live.
see, yeah, and that's what AI will never be able to destroy as a good live band. I mean, I think it'll never get old to see a good band playing together.
No,
No matter what type of music, jazz, country, classical, rock, when you see a good band playing together, I mean, people still pay lots of money to go see a band who can play the Beatles songs well together.
right.
And I've watched some of those videos on YouTube of the Fab Four or whatever. It's like, man, it's pretty interesting to watch. And the Beatles, one of the things I think about them, it's like one of the reasons they were so good was because they were a good band. They were, they could, like, everything they were recording, they could basically play live, except for the background orchestra. But I mean, they were playing stuff live, and it's like most bands can't play that live like that. And so,
Well, isn't that one of the theories behind why they worked so well as a unit? Is they had those years they put in playing in both Germany and in the UK, or in London, wherever they played. Where was Liverpool? The Cavern Club is the famous one in Liverpool, right? But then they worked in. Was it just
Hamburg.
Berlin or all of Germany?
I thought it was Hamburg.
Hamburg. I think you're right. I think it is Hamburg.
Which was a town that was named after the hamburger.
Named after the hamburger.
Yeah, the American hamburger.
Yeah, that's right. We beat the Nazis and renamed their cities.
You should go to Hot Dog.
But they played night after night, multiple sets, and just got so tight and perfected their musicianship. And then what was it? Revolver. Revolver is like it just had or is having its 60th anniversary. Is that right? 60th anniversary, 1966. So it's this year, and maybe even like this month or last month it came out, and the music's still fresh. It's just amazing. Yeah. I don't know how they did it.
I mean, the Beatles, everybody talks Beatles, and I wish I was above it, but I could talk Beatles forever myself.
Well, the thing I didn't get a chance to talk to you about was your choice of She Said on your list. And I thought that was brilliant, and I never got a chance really to mention it or talk to you about it.
The reason that I revisited that song is because, there's all those demos of the earlier recordings of, and so there's this YouTube video somewhere where it's like all these recordings of John developing that song, and he
Oh,
starts off and it's really different. And then as as it goes along, it starts to form what it eventually turned into, and it's so interesting to listen to, and then just how it comes together and all the changes he was making. And then the last version, like the recorded version, is, I mean, it has such a weird time signature. Like it kind of changes to a 3/4 beat after the chorus during the chorus. But then my favorite thing about the song is Ringo's drums, because he's using those weird time signatures and doing really neat fills with them, you know?
mhm.
And it's almost like most drummers would have trouble just keeping the beat, but Ringo is doing like really creative stuff with that beat, but also not getting in the way at all. You
Right.
know, he's like, if you listen to what he's doing, he's almost making the song, but you don't even really think about it unless you've listened to the song 100 times. And that's one of the main things I like about it. And the way it's produced, like they have strange effects. I think they were messing around in the studio, and even on Ringo's drums, it has this kind of psychedelic effect on the drums. And and then I actually heard a interview with Ringo the other day. He said something which I'd never thought about, which is that he actually liked playing on John's songs more. For one thing, because he said John's songs had more kick, but also it gave him and Paul a time to develop their musical relationship as the rhythm section. And I never thought about that. And that's really something I never really had thought about, the Beatles rhythm section pairing of Ringo and Paul, but that makes a lot of sense. You always think about Paul and John, but really they had their own thing going, which made the Beatles.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, none of
so,
them, one of them, in my opinion, none of them produced music that was on par with their collaboration as individual solo artists. I mean, they were all good in their own way, but none of them were. I mean, together they were just this. The sum was always greater than the parts, and I don't think it ever changed. Even though McCartney would go on to write a lot of hits and be famous and rich for it, but just I don't know. And
yeah.
then it was also the confluence with the times, because when they came back together to try to the music they've tried to put together, that the stuff that's been produced by Jeff Lynne, decades later, it doesn't, it lacks, it just lacks in some way. It's a nostalgia act or something. It doesn't quite work. And
Wait, what are you talking about, Jeff Lynne?
Jeff Lynne
Beatles.
produced some of those, a couple of those encore sort of semi-reunion things. They took recordings.
Oh, yeah, like on the anthologies.
Exactly.
Oh, I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was the guy
Okay.
who did the producing for them. I know he did at least one of them. And you can kind of get you kind of get a Jeff Lynne vibe anyway. It's hard for him to restrain himself, I think. So everything has a way of sounding like Jeff Lynne has been in the room, But he does try to stay loyal to the Beatles, so in spite of that, but it just doesn't work. For me, it's not. It doesn't have the same energy or same connection to reality that they were dialed into in the '60s. And I don't know. Like you said, it was that period. They toured together for so long, and finally, when all they do is studio work, they just are creatively at their peak.
Yeah, and
remarkable.
yeah, and I've one thing that I learned a couple years ago that really makes sense, which this can be turned into a kind of conspiracy theory, but I think it was about 65 or 66. they went public, and some of their hugest investors, and I think
Hmm.
I'm not going to be completely accurate about this, but it was something like they were one of the first rock bands to go public, and so like
Like
a
a
lot
corporation,
of,
you mean? Like with
right.
corporate investors? Really, I didn't know that even happened.
I could be wrong, but it's something like this. I don't understand business too well, but I do know that it gave like the British elites and a lot of super wealthy people the opportunity to invest in them. And so it's like just that right there, just that economic. And then of course it's the economic freedom, but also they had connections. They had connections to the greatest, like, um, shot callers in the world, and had their, and yeah, that just like the time of the 60s, the baby boom. I feel like for me, and in my experience, I'm 43, but, or in my opinion, the late, like the mid to late 60s had the best music of every genre, from country to R&B to rock, folk, everything. Like there was something about that period, and I think it had to do with technology and with like world distribution in a way that, and I think, to get conspiracy about it, I think that like England and the US had invested so much in the Cold War that these artistic products were almost anti-cold, like they were almost Cold War weapons. I'm using language as provocative when I don't mean to. I wish I could be more just
I mean, like
normal
as a
about it, but
as like a means of like cultural.
liberalism.
Mhm.
You know, because even though the hippie movement appeared as communist, it was very capitalistic. It was very liberal, capital L, very individualistic. And I think that I'm not saying that the powers did it, but it was in the interest of the Western elites to like propagate this Western pop music. And I'm not saying they did it on like even consciously. I'm just saying it went with the whole Cold War effort.
Mhm.
And just like how they had that, what was it, pirate radio, where they would broadcast Western rock music to Russia because Russia had banned it.
Mhm.
And so, but I'm not trying to be unhinged here. I'm just like
No, no,
trying to
no,
put
no.
everything together.
I looked it up and it just said the Beatles didn't have, this is according to Google, the Beatles didn't have traditional outside venture capital investors when they formed, but their company, Northern Songs, went public on the London Stock Exchange in 1965, allowing outside public investors to buy shares of their songwriting catalog. Additionally, their management company, NEMS, N-E-M-S, later sold shares to outside financial trusts. They Did I already cover that part? They did it to deal with tax, to manage their tax situation, which back in those days was over 90%. It was something that was made George Harrison. Didn't George Harrison write Taxman? He was just bitter
Yeah.
about the treatment they were getting by the British government. Northern Songs, 1965. John Lennon and Paul McCartney publishing their. My reading. John Lennon and Paul McCartney's publishing company went public to reduce tax burdens. This public flotation meant outside investors could buy shares, which diluted John and Paul's ownership down to minority stakes relative to the broader market and publisher Dick James. NEMS and Triumph Investment Trust, 1969, after manager Brian Epstein died, Epstein's family sold their shares in NEMS to the Triumph Investment Trust, leading to complex share transfers and negotiations involving the band's royalties. And it's may end up how Michael Jackson ended up owning much of the Beatles
Right.
catalog that got him and McCartney into a battle. And finally, I think McCartney now owns a majority stake in the Beatles catalog, or may outright own it at this point. I don't remember, but I think the whole business is sorted, but it was decades in the sorting.
It's 65, I believe. Was that Help? Did Help come out in 65?
Probably 60. Well, Rubber Soul is 60.
Rubber Soul is
5.
65, I believe.
Rubber Soul is
'Cause
65.
Rubber Soul, that's my favorite one.
Is it? Okay.
But in my
Norwegian
opinion,
Wood
like,
and all that. You like that sound? It was them
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to do a bit of folk,
yeah.
right?
But I love Help and Revolver, because it's Help, then Rubber Soul, then Revolver, and I feel like those 3 albums are the greatest work ever, in my
Mhm.
estimation.
Interesting. But see, your point of view is different from mine because you're a real musician. So I don't have
well,
that
some would
benefit.
say.
I don't bring that to the table. I would like to. I haven't pursued it enough, but it was always something that I tried, but I lack my patience. I don't have patience for at this. Maybe now I would, as with old age, but I never had the patience to just do repetition over and over and over and over and over again with stuff like that to get it right. I'm more like that now than I used to be, but just the practice work was always a struggle.
Well, yeah, I have I have this like big cloud of an explanation for why the Beatles are the Beatles, and I don't think I can articulate it yet. I want, but I mean, the thing is, when I was really trying, like in my late teenage years, when I was like trying to be in bands and stuff, I mean, we were like playing Rubber Soul, so it was like that's where I learned how to play music. Is like that song Michelle that Paul sings, like learn that on guitar, some other things, and music with me, the only time I would really like practice was when I was in a band and we actually were having to do something right, you know. Otherwise, it's always just been another thing. It's been play, it's playing an instrument. Or if I'm like recording something and I want to get it precise, then I have to really like buckle down and practice. But yeah, it's always been play for me.
Right. Yeah. The only time the creative stuff that I practiced intensely with and to a point of perfectionism that became self-defeating was in my writing. And I wrote, and then I started out in poetry and then moved on to short fiction and stuff like that. And I think I never got past the practice stage to actually seriously publish. I had published some poetry a little bit and a little bit of fiction, but I don't think I've ever published. I never published any fiction, but partly because I could never finish it. I could never get it right. And so in that way, I played. Go ahead.
Tough. Fiction is tough, especially.
I
if you
studied
want
it
to-
intensely. I mean, that's what I did in college. I mean, it was like that was the thing I did. I was there to learn how to write, basically. Ultimately,
Well, I feel like older novels, like from the 1800s, they have an arc, and then like somewhere in the 20th century, novels didn't require an actual plot anymore. It was more about like vibe and personality or something. It's like
well, the nature of plot
not
changed.
completely. I'm talking more about like artistic novels, not the, not
Yeah.
your crime.
Well, no, I think the 20th century, those guys post World War I in American literature, are Anglo-American. I think of course, T.S. Eliot for poetry. But Fitzgerald, Hemingway, Faulkner, those guys are still hugely influential. They're
the
readable.
ones who are like on display Barnes and Noble perpetually. Does anybody read them?
Oh yeah, college students do anyway. I mean, if you aspiring writers do. My daughter-in-law, I've not talked about her publicly on the channel much, but her novel is getting some real serious attention. It's a real publisher. She's got real backing. She's a huge deal. There's an
Who is?
actual my daughter-in-law,
Really?
and I was surprised because she's a young. I don't think I'll get her into trouble at this point. It's going to come out sooner or later how big a deal she is because she just keeps getting more and more attention.
She's a novelist?
Yeah.
Huh.
Let's see. Her name is Amanda Riscala. Try to pull something up that. Let's see here. Hungered, a novel.
It's called Hunger?
Hungered, Hungered.
Past tense.
Yeah, Hungered.
So it's not Knut Hamsun. Hunger.
Let's see here. I'll pull up. This is the novel, but when I was talking to her,
It's got a nice cover.
It was. You'd be shocked. I get all the inside. I got a whole inside view of what it's like. What's involved in a properly published novel with real backing. And she said that the edits and re-edits, the work she did. There's a professionally designed cover. Like with me, I would slap something together on Canva and something, and that's how I'd make my own cover. But this was proper artists were involved in the making of all of this, and it's a lot of people love it, and to me, it's both a serious novel, but it's about I think 11-year-old girls telling the story, but it's serious literary fiction. But anyways, my point was that I was surprised at her age group would still find Hemingway. She loves Hemingway, which super shocked me because I love Hemingway.
Have you ever read that book, A Movable Feast by Hemingway?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was my favorite one, even though it's not really a novel.
Right.
I actually have a really old, it might be a first edition version of that. But so she loves Hemingway.
Yeah, and she's 28, something like that. Yeah, and she was one of those people who all she's wanted to do was write her whole life. So she went and she got she doesn't come from any connections at all. She just comes from a challenging situation with, like a lot of folks. But she's, let's say her mom's Mexican American and her dad is Egyptian. And out of that, she got a full ride scholarship to Stanford. And she studied literature and writing there, and then went on and got her MFA at University of Wisconsin, I believe, in your neck of the woods, Madison. Mm-hmm. That's how she met my son, was at Madison.
Well, those are two, like, I know Stanford is very associated with novelists, right? Like
right.
Wallace Stegner or whatever was there. And I think he used to teach and taught a bunch of novelists how to write famous books.
Right. Well, and that's kind of her dream gig, is to get a job teaching, get tenure teaching somewhere, and then teaching writing, and then write. But I think her writing is turning out to be more profitable than she ever imagined. So she may end up being one of those people who can just write. But she loves teaching too. So like right now she's at some kind of retreat for writers and people in the publishing industry, and she's leading seminars somewhere in Vermont, I think, this week still. She's been there for a few weeks doing this. Interesting girl. Young woman.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah. I can see if I can. It's.
Should have her on your channel.
Yeah, I don't want to do that to her. I've kept quiet about her because I didn't want to draw any negative attention. Although my hate viewership has declined significantly at this point. I've managed to stay under the radar enough. That's her. That picture, funnily enough, was taken by my son, probably on his iPhone, I'm guessing. It's very funny. They're
Nice.
such goofs. I'm like going, I was like thinking, you should have just ponied up for a professional photographer. This is important, but that's the picture they love. So they go with that picture.
Yeah, it has a realistic look to it.
And they're very, oh my goodness, you want to talk about hostility to AI. My son and his wife, oh my goodness, do they hate AI. They do everything they can to stay disconnected from it, even though he uses it for his work because he's in atomic science stuff, so.
Yeah, I'm in atomic science too. I'm just kidding. But that cover, see, when I look at that, you think like, oh, I could just write a novel and I'll publish it on Amazon and I'll just get AI to make a cover as good as that. But the fact is, there's things about that cover that I don't know what it is, but it's better than AI.
Right.
Like I'm not an artist, so I don't know what it is, but I can tell that is made for the shelf of Barnes and Noble, rather than just being some Amazon published book. And so it's like those little details, like when you're talking about her getting a real publisher, that's the advantage, is you have a real book. And you hate to say those things, because people will be like, well, my uncle wrote a real book, or whatever. It's like, no, that's like a real book. You could tell by the way it looks. And there's things that the establishment can do that normal people can't do. And yeah, interesting.
Well, they bring real resources to the table, and I mean, she has an agent, or her agent has a publicist. I mean, I don't know. She may have her own publicist at this point, but I think it's the publisher and the agent work together to kind of promote her, as I understand it, and they're using publicists. They're using some way of getting her connected, to getting her interviewed by the right people for the right publications to further promote the book. They're also she's gotten to be, for somehow, some way, she's gotten the attention of book influencers, which is a big deal apparently with fiction readers, that people with big accounts on Instagram, wherever, I don't know.
Probably TikTok,
YouTube, whatever, and they talk about their favorite books. And I think you have people who I don't pay attention to all that. You want to know the smart. You've got 100 copies of free books to send out, right? Each one's going to cost you the cost of production plus mailing, right? And then you don't want to send out a copy that's going to go unread. And so what they've obviously found, there are people who pay attention to all this stuff, so they know they're going to send those books out to the right people that know they're going to get read. And then they're writing promotional material for her that she doesn't have to do. I mean, all she does is show up to meetings, right? She's kind of like, as I understand it, she has an interview, she has a webinar, she has something she has to do. So whenever she's here
to
visiting
show
us,
up and talk.
just show up and talk. Yeah. So sometimes it's online, sometimes it's in person. It took a few months for it to now this summer she's had to do a lot of travel. Up to then it was not so much traveling. It's
Wow.
she's and the momentum seems to be building, and she deserves it. She's worked really hard for it. It's not something she stumbled into, you know.
I would say I'll read it, but I'm reading like 3 books right now, and then I've got a like everybody, I've got a list that I want to read.
Sure. Yeah,
Maybe I will one of these
yeah,
days.
if you get if I've got a couple free copies, I could probably send one out to you. If you wanted to give me privately your mailing address, and if you wanted to check it out, and then
It would be real cool to have a signed copy.
I probably could pull that out of my hat too.
If she's like going to be the new up and coming hip writer, yeah, I'd pay you.
No, you
That'd
don't
be
even have to
fun.
pay me. No, we bought a case of books when we knew it was going to happen because we wanted to be supportive, and so we just bought a case. And since then, like some of my wife's friends read the book, loved the book, and then when at the funeral for my mom, one of the friends got the book signed. It was all okay.
Yeah.
Or something. But it's just like, this is the only opportunity I'm going to have. I want my book signed. And so she signed the book, and they got selfies together. It was very funny. It was because we had a lighthearted funeral. It wasn't a big, heavy thing. You know, it was more of a celebration.
Yeah.
It wasn't a funeral, actually. It was a celebration of life. And that's what we had open to the public. The funeral was graveside. So it was kind of a party, a reception, and a celebration. So it was not an inappropriate scene.
Sure.
But no, I love Amanda. I love her. I think she's brilliant. And she's good for my son. Even better.
That's interesting. I used to try to read a lot, so I used to be kind of like interested in that literary life. No, not so much anymore, but I always liked because writers love to write about themselves. You know, like the great writers. They love to.
Yeah, that's the thing with her book. Tony's asking about what was the genre and plot of the book. The genre is literary, but it reads easily. It's not a hard read. It's not like reading Ulysses or something. You know, it's not a huge book. You feel like you're getting your money's worth when you buy it, but it's not it's not like reading 800 pages or something. It's or in small print. It moves well. So it's literary, but it's serious literature. I wouldn't say there's a lot of humor in it. You would think with the main characters, it's about a girl, her little brother, and her mom, and their family is separated as a result of some abuse, and they're living out of their car. And so it's about those experiences.
Semi-autobiography.
It may or may not be. This is the hard, which is why I have a hard. I told her. I told her to her face. I don't know. I can't say. But the other people think it was so easy to read and so light. It's so light, and I'm like going light. But the thing is I know the writer, and I can't help but imagine the writer as this little girl. I keep putting her in the. I'm a reader of lit. I used to be a reader of literature. I don't read that much literature anymore. But I mean, I've done it. I've done it as work. I've done it as from the point of view of a literary analyst to try to understand, all of it. I mean, I've done all this stuff. I know how to read literature and not get too involved, and I can't do it with this. I cannot just.
Well,
I can't I can't have the emotional distance. I keep, and I think because I know this person, I know the writer, and I keep putting the writer into the shoes of the character. That's my fault. It's my weakness.
And maybe she's trying to use these crazy experiences and lighten them up. It's like that's part of the thing she's doing.
And I don't know if she's had those experiences. I don't know if she's taken,
Sure.
I don't know what is her and what isn't. But the character's mom is Mexican and their father's.
Well, that just sounds like
Egyptian.
regular news.
I don't know, but it's a good book. Everyone tells me it's a great book. People will read. I've got a lot of good feedback personally from it. The people just told me what they thought about it, but also she's getting a lot of people writing about it in a positive way. So if you just type in Amanda Rizkallah or Hungered, the novel Hungered, you'll probably see it very easily, and you'll start to see the interviews and responses.
Huh. Is that her
But
first
anyways,
novel?
it's her first. Yeah, that's her first. It's her debut novel. I can see
Yeah,
now
'cause-
why famous writers have a hard time with their sophomore effort, because so much work goes into that first one.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, people are flying you around to talk about yourself when, like, before that nobody cared. It's got to be a traumatic experience.
Oh, I see. You meant mystery, crime, horror. No, it's none of those things. Drama, maybe. Real life. It's not young adult, but it could fit into young adult because of the main characters. It's a lot of young adult stuff is about adolescence. Yeah. By the way, Tony, did you take down your post? I got a glimpse of it, and he posted. Tony posted a really nice, what looked like a nice comment, but it was long, and I clicked on it and went, oh, because I literally was like getting into the car to drive somewhere or something when I got the notification, so I didn't have time to read through it, and so I said, okay, I just kept it in the back of my mind. And then Tony mentioned the next day in a live stream, did you read the comment? And I said, I'm getting to. And I was, because if people, this is like you taking down things too, Mark. I don't get the things instantly. And if you got to sometimes give me days to get around to something, but I will get around to it unless you're trolling me. And if I see somebody making a real life effort, a good effort to communicate with me, I'll try to communicate back. And unfortunately, I think Tony deleted it. At least that was. Yes, I mean the Anglican comment. And I don't know if YouTube took it down, because that happens too. I can't explain why or how. And it tends to be longer comments tend to be wiped by the machine for some reason. And sometimes people just take them down. And Tayo said that you tend to delete comments. So I don't know which happened, but now I can't see the comment, which makes me very sad because I wanted to read it properly and get through it. Tayo's in the room. Tayo's been a troll lately. Tayo, come defend yourself.
Well, he's referring to Tony, which Tony, I believe, is like a wooden idol, which spirit which inhabits many different idols is inhabiting.
Tony seems to operate very much on Anselman's frequency.
I mean, I like Tony.
Maybe in a different direction.
He's never. I guess he's like Claire. She's always been super nice to me, and I never got the anger. But I've seen her say stuff to other people like, oh, like if she said that to me, I would have,
yeah.
Why is she so there's a few people like that. Like, I don't know what goes on. You see these like age-old feuds going on in the hive mind of like people. You can tell they've been arguing for years or something.
Tony has. I've only been able to get little glimpses of a lot of these live streams, these early morning ones, and then Tony says that Chris Howard was triggered by me and Nathan, as he spent the last 2 mornings dissing you both for questioning the TLC cult leader PVK. One, I didn't mean to trigger anybody, But has anybody seen that? His response for Chris? I know that I trigger him sometimes, but not intentionally. It's not something I work to do. But anyway, final bits on the music before we forget why we're here. Because what do you think of this idea of using music to get to know each other better, as well as to, I mean, I'm enjoying just putting the collections together. I'm listening to my own playlist, folks. Does that make me a narcissist? I like the playlist I assemble. I'm like, well, that's a good collection of 5 songs. So if I only want to like I don't like, I have a big catalog in my phone of Sacred Heart, and I'll shuffle, and it's okay. But these are kind of a group of favorites, and I'll go, oh, I really like that group, and I can digest, and I can sit with. If I know it's only 5 and not 50. It's like I won't get buried into it, and because I have like I mentioned to you, a love-hate relationship with Sacred Harp, so it's just like that group of 5, I'll go, yeah, that's good, and then it's like this group of 5 of the sacred music here. I'll just call it sacred music. You mentioned music for church.
Oh yeah, I still want to listen to. I haven't listened to your. I saw it, but I haven't listened to your today's list because it's got a bunch of church songs. I like sacred music. But
This is a good group.
Sacred Harp is a definite subgenre of
sacred music. Yes, it is. It is, and it is like I said, there's a darkness to it. It's
well, that's because it has a limited number of notes. It's like the scale is only like 5 notes, I think, instead of regular music, which is 7 notes. Or
so there's an actual mechanistic reason for why it feels the way it feels.
Well, see, and I think that has to do with the fact you're not a musician. Like you don't understand sorry, I don't mean to, but
no, it's true. No, this is the point. This is why this is the benefit of having you around.
There's a thing called a power chord, where it's like it doesn't have the third, and so it has a certain like ambiguous quality to where it's neither happy nor sad. It's power chord. It's just like, and so a lot of Sacred Harp music, the chord structure is a power chord to where it's neither major nor minor. It's just, it can be major or minor, but it's just, it's a limited scale. And so in that way, I like it because I like limits, like having rules on stuff is interesting, and because you then see how people work within those rules. But then again, it kind of gets old too.
It's a mood. It's got a mood to it, and then sometimes I don't want it. Like I said, the lyrics. You call them lyrics, the poetry or whatever it is. The words have a definite theological point of view, tends towards apocalypticism. It's whether it's Babylon is fallen, there's a lot of New Jerusalem talk, Zion not in the Zionistic modern sense of the word, but as a Christian aspiration.
Which could either mean heaven or like some millennial kingdom or something.
On earth, yeah. It tends to have a kingdom of God on earth thing. It's restorationist in its views. Small r restorationist, not necessarily big R restorationist. So with all of that, it's just, that's Sacred Harp. Anyway, this was church music, and you could say. So the first one was "Stay with Me" by Thais. It's very Catholic, and it's based on the scene in the Garden of Gethsemane, and they just,
so that would be some Novus Ordo or whatever music, huh? You call it?
So that'll give you a vibe of that. and then just builds from there.
Yeah, I love that stuff.
It's beautiful. Tiny's is so listenable. Again, they are huge, and I'll probably have to cut it out because of Google. This one is a Wesleyan hymn. Let me pull back just a little bit. Again, amazing music. I love this playlist.
Thing about Methodism, it's kind of like big church aesthetics and small church theology.
Yeah.
Traditionally, not anymore. Who knows what it is now, but that's what it used to be.
Well, and Charles Wesley's, I mean, his reach is beyond Methodism. I mean, everybody sings Charles Wesley.
Even the Catholics do.
Probably. I'm not, but I think you're right. I think you're right. There were two more. Yeah, some of them with a lot of views. I gotta be careful.
I think they were officially still Anglican most of the time when they were doing their thing.
Yeah.
So,
the last one here is. This one is. This was the last of the sacred music, and it's the most idiosyncratic.
That's interesting. So that was Appalachian Eastern Orthodox chant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost like you hear the Eastern chant, but with a Scotch Irish bluegrass howling, which is interesting.
It is. It is. So I'll post a link to the playlist. This was the Sunday playlist. So I'm going to follow this pattern.
Like a Ralph Stanley song or something.
I don't know what to make of it. Yes, it's see, you've got a better ear for the components of what makes that work, but they're taking. Yeah, and I don't have that training or ear. My hearing isn't even that good. So, but it is as a collection, starting out with the Catholic thing, then the 3 Wesleyan hymns, and then closing with the Appalachian Orthodox chanting. It's a fun little group.
Sure. It's its own.
And all I'm trying to do is get other people to do their own. And so I'm thinking what I might like to do. Let me remove this screen.
Thing is, for me to post a list of 5 a day, that's a lot. I mean, I'm kind of self-conscious about that, 5 a day every day.
No, so you don't have to do what I'm doing. I'm not doing it. I'm just one. I've got a lot of these songs stored up. It's just, and I don't have anybody to talk to them about. It's because I don't my wife doesn't listen to the same music I do. Nobody does. No one's listening to this stuff, much less this diverse. I mean, I've got a pretty diverse group already, right? This is just to give you a flavor of what I listen to on a pretty regular basis, and nobody to talk to them. So I could probably do. I'm guessing I won't start to peter out for a month or more. I'll probably be able to do 5 a day for at least a month before I start to have to scramble and start to think about what am I going to do today. But it's just because it's all this built up. But what I'm thinking though is I just want to inspire other people to take, what's your favorite song? Just take a group of favorites of 5, 3, 10, whatever, create a playlist, share the playlist. And then maybe what I'm thinking might be fun was if we get enough enough energy behind what's going on is just organize little estuary-like meetings where everybody picks one song they love. You pitch your favorite song. You got a group of 5, 6, 7 people. Everybody pitches a favorite song. Maybe say 200 words why they, love it. An elevator pitch, what they love about the song. And then we all vote for who's, just like estuary style, you vote for whose song you want to talk about first. And the winner is the one that goes we start talking about first is the winner of the poll, and have an estuary style meeting around music. I don't know if it worked or not. I don't know if it'll work or not, but it's just an idea. Maybe we'll never get to that stage of this. And so people could then go back and say, okay, so these were then you create a playlist for that meeting, right? So these were the 7 songs pitched at this musical estuary meeting on September 1st or whatever. And people could go listen to the music, then go and listen to the discussion and see where it takes us. What do you think? Is there any, or am I just dreaming up something that is a no-go?
I think I personally am not the biggest fan of estuary. Not that I think it's wrong. I tend to get bored in a lot of them. But I love talking about music though. So yeah. So yes and no on your idea for me.
Mm-hmm. So the protocol is iffy, you think?
Yeah, because estuaries tend to last like a while, And if you wanted the topic to be on one song to last like an hour, I don't know. But because you would necessarily have to span off into all these rabbit holes, I guess, which is natural.
Well, most of the estuary meetings that I've been involved with, particularly the ones in Chino, those are the local ones I attend. And this is what I have in mind, is we almost always end up talking about other pitches. My thinking would be is we wouldn't necessarily fixate on one song, but we would start with one song. And the song we start with would be the one that got the most votes, or the pitch that got the most votes. But see, it may not even be about the song, but it may be more about what that song does to that listener. That's maybe the winning pitch. And we may end up talking about that. It could be about the cultural or political or religious setting in which the song was created, or the subjects that it's addressing, right? Like I remember there was a song, I'm a fan of a YouTube, kind of a famous guy, a guy who's getting famous on YouTube. He's been a musician for a while. He's professional. Jesse Wells, I think is his name.
Oh yeah. I've seen him. I've never watched him because the algorithm pushes him so much to me. I'm just a contrarian, so I can't.
I see. Well, he's worth listening to. He's really good. He's very creative. He does a lot of impromptu stuff, I think. You get a feeling like he whips up a lot of songs and he just performs them because this is how he practices. And then some of it's his more polished stuff that he'll either perform live in a cornfield or in all kinds of settings. Anyway, he's an interesting guy, but I played something from him, and Ron Copperman's response was, yeah, it sounds good, but I don't like the politics. And that's just another response. It doesn't, I mean, it's maybe it's not my response, but it may be, it's whatever he said. There was nothing particularly more political about his work than, say, Oliver Anthony, except that Oliver Anthony resonates with one side of the culture war and Jesse Wells resonates with another side of the culture war, even though both are really remarkable musicians and songwriters. And I would be happily talk about either one of them because I do like the music more than the politics, or whatever political energies they draw out of people. But it is interesting. See, that's just alone. That's like, oh, let's say, oh, I don't like this because I don't like his. He just feels a little too renegade for me or something, or he's a little too outlaw, or a little too this, a little too that. And it's like, oh, well, let's talk about that. That would be. I'm happy to talk about any of it, but doing it around music.
I mean, that's the good thing about music is in the end, it doesn't matter. So you can just be really opinionated about it. And you might offend people a little bit, but in the end, you're not going to offend them that much because it's just like sounds, bro. It's just like noise in the end.
And that's where the protocol could help keep it from getting gross. Because you can go, the job of the moderator is to kind of not let the conversation get bogged down in resentments and animosity. I mean, you want people to freely express themselves, but then not let it take over the meeting,
Yeah. One thing me and my wife actually did last night was I'll project my YouTube onto the TV, and then we'll just like watch. We'll just search for classical music performances,
Okay.
like weird ones, And it's kind of fun because there's really great recordings of like orchestral or small quartets or whatever, just by everybody, And it's fascinating that you can just watch that now, and it's like they're playing better than probably the person that composed it ever even heard it played. And yeah, I mean, yeah, you could any type of music you could throw up there and get some.
What
get
do you
somebody
think
to talk
about young musicians? Okay, see, you're old enough to be able to reflect on this at this point, because I think we're now really 3 decades into, or more, 3 to 4 decades into a period in which a lot of parents, millions of parents, invested a musical education into their children. And it was not just learning piano. I mean, kids getting voice training and piano, guitar, bands. We've had music. We took music education out of the schools for the most part, but individual families, it put them into their children. And it seems like we've got this race of super musicians out there. They may not be producing Beatles level material in terms of creatively in the same way, connecting with society in the same way, but Rick Beato will highlight them sometimes, these virtuosos of their art and craft music. What do you think? You think we're at a cultural high point in terms of musicianship, or not? Because I've never seen so many people who can do so well, who can perform so much good music. It may not be, again, it's there's something different happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's kind of the same thing as like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani in the 90s. When you say so, that it's like these people with this extreme technical ability where they're almost doing more tricks than they're making music. And that's kind of how I feel like some people like Jacob Collier. I don't really know that much about it, but I would rather hear like a mediocre musician play an interesting song they wrote than like some virtuoso play every single note in 1 second.
Well, I just think of like what comes to my mind, like the Who. What a remarkable band, but they weren't.
Yeah.
With maybe the exception, well, they were all. Were any of them properly trained in any classical sense? I know that the bassist Entwistle might have been, because he could do a lot of things, and he might have been formally trained. But they were really just street kids who came together and wanted to get girls and make money the easy way, and they loved music, and then they became super creative. I mean, by the time they're done, they're writing rock operas, right? I mean, um, I don't know. It's different. I like. I agree with what you're saying, though. Is that the technical? It's not the technically. Well, then okay. Here's an alternative person, Tori Amos, right? Tori Amos enters a special music school at the age of 5. She's still the youngest person to ever be allowed into this school. And she was there until she was 11. And she was a true prodigy. And to hear her tell her story, it sounded like it was every year was torture. I mean, she just hated it. But she was this incredibly gifted as well as super trained musician who then went on to great fame, but interestingly enough, didn't reach fame. When you see her play in the 90s, she's already either in her late 20s or early 30s. So she didn't launch at a really young age nationally. Which is the opposite. What I'm saying is it's kind of the opposite of the Who, right? Or the Beatles, who broke at a really young age and didn't have any of the technical training.
Well, the Beatles, like you had said before, they had all that training in Hamburg and Liverpool. Like they played so much live music. And so
Right.
even though it wasn't a classical discipline, there was a lot of discipline that they probably had that a lot of other like 19-year-old guys did not have, just to play for 8 hours a day like that. And just that right there, because I think about that girl, what was her name, that did so well in the Olympics, the ice skater, because I didn't even watch any of it. I saw afterwards, she was supposedly this child prodigy who got burnt out because her dad like tortured her and made her practice so much. And then she got burnt out, and then she came back and like just did what she wanted to do, and everybody's like, wow, isn't it great that you just cast off all your former your barriers and you're being yourself. And I mean, I'm sure it's been said, but I was just thinking like, but she couldn't have been herself if she hadn't had that discipline and skill from all those endless hours of torturing herself,
Right. Well, there's different
And-
kinds of discipline, right? I'm thinking of like, is it still true that Paul McCartney doesn't know how to read music fluently? That he can't sit
I
down
don't
from a piece of sheet music and play it, right?
Well, I'm not sure. Like the thing with writing music for most of the music that we have on pop radio, it's not written notes with notes, There's like it's just like written with a guitar or a piano and people making stuff up off the top of their head. It's like yeah. But I guess that takes a lot of practice. Anyway, Mark,
Yeah,
this
it's been a
has
while.
fun talking to you, but I've got to go.
Yep. Well, thanks for keeping me
Yeah.
company. Nobody else wanted to hop in, so I appreciate it, and I appreciate the
My
feedback.
pleasure. It was my type of title.
Okay, cool. What do you think about the thumbnail? This was no AI was used in the making of this, except I used Canva to combine photos and play with lighting. So I guess AI, I'm sure, is involved, but I did not go to ChatGPT.
Right.
I'm trying not to use any of the generative AI to make my images. I use stock photos, and then I play with lighting and filters and overlays. And I don't know, does it resonate with people, or should I just do like everyone else is doing and having AI make me a catchy thumbnail?
No, I mean, I would guess that it took more work than just some prompt. I mean, I like it.
Cool. Well, we'll play it. Keep playing. I'm still trying. I'm trying to be authentic, or at least not repulsive. Thanks, Mark.
Thank
Say
you.
hi. God bless you and your wife.
You too. God bless. Peace.
Peace, man. All right. Why are we telling people to STFU? What's going on in the chat, people? I've got to go. It's already 12:46 my time. I've been on for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Goodness, big face. There we go. Dial it back a little bit. I guess I'm done. There was this Rick Beato. I was talking about these. Rick Beato did an interview with these young musicians. And it's Domi and JD Beck. They are they're part of the really young musicians who are technically super advanced, of course, and that's very much Rick Beato's style. But you can just see what they look like. They are she's from France. He sounds American or Canadian.
1 p.m. every day on Christmas, on my birthday, sick, whatever. It was there, you know. But I'm super grateful for it because by 15, I had 25,000 hours of practice. And
15 years old with 25 hours of practice. Crazy, crazy. See you later, Tayo. I guess that's a goodbye. All right. So anyways, Tony, sorry I didn't get to see whether you took it down or whether the YouTubes took it down. I'm sorry I didn't get to read your full comment or respond to it. I tried. Just got to leave it up longer for me if you did take it down. Now I'm going to close this out. We're going to find out what the YouTube says about all these little snippets of copyright protected materials, even though it should all fall within the within fair use. Please feel free to join in. Make your own playlist. Make your own playlists. Share them. At the very least, listen to music. Listen to some of the playlists I put up here. I will try to. I got to remember to do that. I will remember to do that. I will add the playlist links to the show description. Hopefully get that out in a few minutes. And so that's that. Should I play something else? We're trying not to do AI. I do like some of the goofy AI music that I have prompted. That's just, it tends to be more for shits and giggles, guys. I don't take that seriously. This is more about real music by real people. And this is what I want to do. I want to talk about that. Talk about that. Uh-oh, Tile. Snitches get stitches. All right, people. Have a good day.